Thanks for checking out this movie review video. This is for the 2021 film On the Third Day. It's a Shudder exclusive and it's coming to Shudder on Thursday, July 7th. This is a film that I'm going to say this. All films are worth watching at least once just to decide how you personally feel about that film. That will mean something to people who watch a lot of my videos. I did not enjoy this film. There are many things I really didn't enjoy about it, but I could see some people enjoying it for certain reasons. I will go over what I liked, what I didn't like in detail. Also, it's no spoiler though. So if you do want to watch it, you can watch this review and have no spoilers. Directed by Daniel de la Vega, who also directed the films Jennifer's Shadow, Death Knows Your Name, Blood Brothers, Necrophobia 3D. I assume it was in 3D. White Coffin and Dead End. Written by Alberto Fasce, I hope I said that right, and Gonzalo Ventura. It's an Argentinian film that was originally in Spanish, but for some odd reason, the Shudder release is dubbed in English. And this is one of my biggest issues with this film. There are other issues, but one of my biggest issues is these English dubs are terrible. The English voice acting is awful. It just makes it ridiculous. I don't know if that's what they were going for, but when I see a film that's filmed in a other language other than English for my viewership purposes, I'd rather read subtitles than have those dubbings, especially if it's a film that wants to be kind of taken seriously, because one of the big things with it is I feel like it ends up selling short the actors is the big thing, because it takes so much away from their performances. So anyone who's watching this dubbed version isn't going to know what the actual performances were like, because you're getting terrible performances, voice acting wise, put over top. From what I could kind of tell, some of the acting looked like it was pretty good from a physical standpoint, from a facial expression standpoint, but how am I to truly know? I can't know. So I think this is an odd choice. I really hate it. I don't know why they're doing this. Unless, for some weird reason, because this has happened before, they gave me a different version of the film as a screener, and they're going to put up a subtitled version on Shudder. I hope that's the case, because that would help the film a lot. Quick synopsis. It's about a woman who ends up getting into a car accident with an interesting character who has some mystery around them. And then all of a sudden her son is missing, who was in the car with her at the time. She wakes up in the hospital, and it's her journey to kind of figure out, where is my son? What happened to my son? While also kind of cutting to that guy that she got in the accident with, and showing a little bit of what's going on with that individual. I think that portion is the most interesting portion of the film, in my opinion, because it presents this interesting mystery, which you do get answers to at the end of the film, and is okay-ish. It's all right. But yeah, just not a fan. There is a slow motion that then goes into a freeze frame in the beginning of the film that's very cheesy. Now, this kind of goes to kind of the film style. It looks like the film is set in the 70s. So I'm thinking that some of the actual filming choices were supposed to be inspired by other 70s films, just like that type of style. So for that reason, I'm okay with that type of stuff. It comes off a little weird, a little cheesy, but if you're trying to fit the time period like that, I'm good with it. That is fine with me. So it can have, a little bit of a nostalgia feel for that decade, film-wise. The sound design is weird in this, at least early on in the film. I felt like it settled down as the film got going, but in the first, 15 minutes or so, the sound design is noticeably odd. Does not sound right. There was one part in particular in the hospital where someone's, talking or yelling, and you're hearing, this very odd echo that's involved with that. And just, other noises kind of do a little bit of that and just don't sound right. So I don't know what was going on with the sound design there, so that was another issue. The film feels super choppy. I think the dubbing has a good deal to do with that, because you're not getting the actual dialogue from the script. You're getting whatever was created after the fact and thrown over top of the actors. So it's not well done. So it feels real chopped up, and the way characters end up then interacting with each other verbally doesn't make sense. It doesn't feel right. It's super awkward, and it'll definitely just throw you out of the experience of the film, in my opinion. Also, events wise, it just kind of seems like there's a lot of random stuff just going on. The characters seem to act randomly. The events seem to be random. It's just a lot of random stuff. It's just a meandering script in general. Everything's very meandering. Nothing makes a whole lot of sense. There's not a whole lot of cohesion to it. And the pacing is not good. The pacing is actually terrible. It feels very stretched out for time, and it's only an hour and 24-minute runtime. It feels way longer than that, which is not a good thing. There's one storyline that is interesting because you want to know what's actually going on. That's the part I was kind of pointing to with the guy, the guy who was in the car wreck with the woman with the kid. Whenever they're cutting to him, like, there is some interesting stuff going on with him where you're like, what is going on here? You do, like I said, you do find out. It's kind of interesting. So there was a concept. There was a decent concept, at least, for this script. I just don't think it came together. And like I keep saying, the English dubbing on it is killing this film horribly. There are some interesting shots, and they seem inspired by older films, like I was talking about from the 70s. Kind of an interesting story in the very, very end, but everything really, really is belabored. They have a tendency to just kind of stay in a scene. They just stay in a scene, stay in a scene, stay in a scene, and I'm like, you already nailed it. Like, you already hit everything that you needed to address with this scene. Why are we just stretching it out? So that's one of the biggest reasons that the runtime or the pacing is so bad. It really 100% feels like this film was just stretched for runtime, and they didn't even hit an hour and a half. So I don't even know, why they went for this. Again, I've said this about a lot of films before. This could be a decent short film. Feature film, no go. No, it doesn't work for that. Now that said, I think, was it De La Vega? Yeah, Daniel De La Vega did a pretty good job directorially. Cinematography looks pretty solid. There were some pretty inspired camera shots, some camera movements. Like I said, it's got that nostalgia for the 70s. Some of that stuff is kind of cool and interesting. They do have a tendency at times, though, in certain scenes to just like focus on one character way too much. There's one guy in particular. It's an older gentleman. So if you watch the film, you'll know what I'm talking about when you get to it. It's an older gentleman who's in a room with some other characters, and I don't want to give anything away, but he's conducting something, basically. And they keep going to this same shot of him head on, and it's like pretty much dark around him, but he's just kind of lit up. And at times it's focusing like just light on his eyes, like that old trick. But they just keep showing the same shot of him, and there really isn't much of anything going on. And it's like, can't we be seeing something else? Or why are we just continually going back to this guy for no real reason? Like, it's odd choices with this film. Really odd choices. I just do not get it. I will say, though, if you are enjoying the film, well, this is for people who either have already watched the film and missed this, or are going to watch the film because they're interested. There is a post-credit scene. The post-credit scene adds a little something extra, but it's also kind of kind of like the rest of the end of the film, kind of like the whole film for the most part. But those are my feelings on the third day, and there is a significance, by the way, to the actual title, On the Third Day, which is explained, so that's good. But I'm not a fan of this one. So out of 5 stars with half stars in play, I'm going to give it 1 star. This gets a 1 star. I don't understand why this film was picked up. I think this falls into potentially the category that I've talked about that concerns me with Shudder. They feel like they have to put out a new film that's either exclusive or original for them each week. And so I think for that reason, they end up spending some money on stuff that maybe they should have just saved their money to spend on something else later. You know what I mean? I'm sure they have a budget, so they have to kind of, tweak the numbers here and there to be like, okay, we can spend this much here. Well, we don't have a whole lot left, so let's go get some cheaper fare to put out on these other days. But I think this is kind of showing that there's a problem with just trying to put content out, you know, and not focusing on content that's more meaningful or interesting, in my opinion. But then again, you know, maybe people will love this film. Like I say, you know, a lot of films end up finding a fan base whether I like it or not, and that's good. You know, all films should really find a fan base. So, in a way, I hope this one does. It doesn't do anything for me. I think it's a wreck, but, you know, whatever. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on this film. Go ahead and put it in the comments. You can talk spoilers in the comments. That's fine. So if you want to leave a comment and you don't want to see spoilers, just don't read any of the other comments because there could be spoilers. Do me a quick favor, hit subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. That is the best way to repay me if you like any video I've ever done. I'm not making money doing this at the point when I'm recording this, so, you know, just putting out free content. So pay me back with a subscribe. Also hit the notification bell button because then you know when I'm putting up new videos, which I'm doing 4 a week at this point, which is a good amount. But regardless, thanks for checking out this video, and until next time, keep it brutal.